Dozens of alien voices filled the great hall, some of which made clicking noises and others of which whistled like birds. And some rumbled like far-off thunder, with the most powerful beings in the galaxy seated in the middle of it all. Admiral Jake Morrison maintained his expression while he gazed down at the little table in the corner where two people were sitting quietly. Dr. Lisa Parker was beside him, blank, as he watched the aliens discuss his species as if they were kids. Her jaw was clenched in rage as she tapped her fingers on the metal table, unable to display that they had traveled across the galaxy. They came to this meeting expecting friends and allies, but instead they encountered mockery. And taunts. The ambassador of Zafir rose from his crystal throne, his body appearing to. His voice sliced through the air like a blade as he spoke, a living glass that was tall and sharp with light dancing inside of him. These people believe they belong here with us, but take a look at the metal boxes on their ships. Bolted together by welding and bolts, they hardly know how to fly between stars, and their laughter filled the room. The Korvoxy delegate hissed through her scales and sharp teeth, but the sounds were alien and meant the same thing. She changed color with laughter, resembling a gigantic lizard decked out in elegant robes. I saw their weapons as well, they continue to use bombs and bullets. My kids are so adorable. Admiral Morrison felt his hands as he played with increasingly sophisticated toys and heard more laughter coming from all over the hall. Clench into fists beneath the table, but he concealed them because he had served in combat for 30 years. Something these aliens were unaware of, yet he had witnessed towns burn and friends perish, but it was more difficult to sit here and be made fun of like an idiot than to fight. Dr. Parker examined her data pad, which contained the true secrets of human technology. The information was so confidential that only 12 people on Earth were aware of its existence, and she intended to demonstrate these aliens what people were capable of. However, she was still unable to hear the speaker from the ethereal collective float above the others, a sphere of unadulterated energy encased in a transparent shell. When it spoke, the words seemed to spring out of nowhere at once. Maybe we might give them an easy task to do. Could transport goods for us or perhaps clear the dead planets that we no longer desire. The insults continued coming. A metal monster that resembled a walking tree and represented hegemony implied that people may act as entertainment. The creatures that dwelt in the dark areas between stars, known as void swimmers, pondered whether humans could make a good. Admiral Morrison, who had been schooled for this, sat motionless as stone for it all. Moment, ready for the mockery and disgrace that the Earth's leaders had prepared for this, so they knew it would happen, but that didn't make it any less painful. When Dr. Parker saw her reflection in the shiny table, she appeared frail and small in comparison to the surrounding giants. Her attire were simple, and her brown hair was pulled back in a simple way. In contrast to the extravagant attire of extraterrestrials who could afford to purchase entire solar systems, but she was aware that they didn't do something that would make a huge difference. When the Dwam Syrian emissary held up a single crystal hand, the room became silent. Have determined that humans will be honored to join our great alliance, working as farmers and miners. They will supply the raw materials so that some aliens can be used by the actual civilizations. Some clapped, some made applauding noises, and some simply gazed at the people with what Admiral Morrison may have felt sorry for him when he eventually stood up. His clothing was straightforward. Simple metal emblems on blue fabric, nothing elaborate or striking, but when we are grateful to the Council for this kind offer. His speech bore the weight of all people who have ever lived. Even if the words tasted like poison to him, he said them anyway. Earth accepts whatever role you think we deserve. Was all a part of the scheme to make them believe that people were weak. Dr. Parker got up to see her hand reaching for a tiny pin on her collar, which appeared to be a straightforward bit of jewelry, a small silver star, but as her fingers touched it, a small light pulsed from the star, invisible to alien eyes, and the council meeting concluded with more. Aliens laughed and joked as they left the hall, already oblivious to the two little humans in the corner. Others pondered how long it would take to break plans to travel to Earth and explore what resources they could use. Morrison and Dr. Parker, completely admirable human spirits, walked slowly toward the exit with their heads down like beaten soldiers, but if someone had paid careful attention, they could have noticed the small smirk at Morrison's mouth. They may have observed how Dr. Parker's fingertips repeatedly touched that odd pin as their basic human vessel. Morrison climbed in the pilot's chair after leaving the station and turned on a communication device concealed beneath the control panel. Didn't like any technology the galaxy had ever seen, let alone human technology. Control, this is Morrison. The meeting proceeded as planned, and they purchased the entire show. A voice spoke from somewhere beyond conventional space and time, but incredibly far away. Admiral, please keep your cover for the time being. We'll show them when the time comes. Dar. Parker grinned as she gazed out at the sky, demonstrating what people are truly capable of. Something old and strong was lurking in the depths of space in locations that existed between dimensions. The aliens' quick mockery of humanity was something the galaxy would never have predicted. 3 months after the Galactic Council meeting, they would discover why that was an error. The Korvoxy Empire was fed up with waiting for others to understand their position, so Fleet Commander Sethra stood atop observing the star charts that displayed the route to Earth from the bridge of her flagship. She felt the excitement of a simple hunt despite her emotionless scaled face. How many ships are we bringing? She was asked. 200, a younger Corvusci with vivid green scales, was second in charge. She responded by using her forked tongue to taste the air, which was more than enough to crush these. The Korvoxy fleet traveled through space like a primitive fool, and their entire planet will surrender in less than a day. 3 times larger than humans, each ship was a swarm of venomous insects. Had ever constructed weapons capable of shattering moons in two, and their shields could halt a star's rage in the face of such might. What on earth could humanity do? Alarms were going off in every military installation. President Danny Carter sat in a deep underground bunker with displays and blinking